Welcome to the Pool Kind of Podcast, the new home for boxing. My name is Wendy, and I am your host and curator, bringing you the most honest takes on the sport I love without the bias and without the politics. The spot where we can all lead, seasoned veterans to the game and newcomers alike. So stay strapped in, subscribe, wrap those hands right, give us 5 stars, and keep that chin tucked. Tell your people about us. So who you got? The Pool Kind of Podcast. Let's go. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the PCP, the Pool Counter Podcast. I really appreciate y'all, man. This is the new home for boxing. Thanks for joining us. And not just boxing. You know, sometimes I throw a little, of a few other major fight sports in there. You know, not necessarily the slap league. I don't think we're there yet. But to get started today, because I want to make this quick for y'all, let's talk about the fight last weekend in the UFC between Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling. Yes, I actually stayed up for this one. I thought it was a really good fight. And honestly, it wasn't even the most exciting fight of the night. I think that went to Weili Zhang and Amanda, what was her name? Lemos, I believe it was pronounced. That was truly a fight where at any point it could have been over for either woman, man. I really enjoyed that, man. Zhang looked great in the clinch. And on the ground for the most part, but stand up belonged to Lemos, man. Like whenever they started banging, I think Lemos got the best of that situation for the most part. But shout out to Weili Zhang on the win. She did her thing, man. She really did her thing. That was a very exciting fight. For those who haven't seen it, hit YouTube, man. Check it out. Now, back to O'Malley and Aljamain. This to me looked like O'Malley was setting the trap the whole time, y'all. Aljamain looked like a wrestler. That's pretty much it. He failed on his takedowns, and y'all already know what a wrestler in the UFC is that can't take you down, right? Food. O'Malley set a nice trap, just inviting Sterling into his web. And shout out to Sean because as soon as Sterling committed the barging in, O'Malley just pulled right out of range and countered with a beautiful right hand. It was amazing. Put him down, made him kiss the ground, and that was really it, man. And I swear, pull counters everywhere. You can't avoid it. Oh, and O'Malley, chill, man. You got to relax. All right, calling out Tank. What are you doing, man? Boxing is different, but I think I can kind of, wink, wink. I see what's going on here. But first, you got to keep winning, man, in convincing fashion at that. Then those big money crossover fights might be a possibility in the future. Everybody really wants that Connor plan, right? Fight the biggest name in boxing, you get to write your own check, maybe even retire. Now, talking about guys being able to get fights, man. Shout out to Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, man, or Andrade. Some people might call him Andrade, but shout out to him for finally hooking a big fish. Maybe it's because this might be an octopus or a monster, or a whale, the wrong one. But they're reporting that both sides right now between him and Benavidez, they've actually come close to 95% complete on the deal. So I'm excited about that. They're saying it may be around what was it, November or something like that, November, September. But I'm hoping they can actually get that going. I would love to see that. And honestly, I'm truly excited for Andrade, man, because we've seen this dude not get great fights for the longest period of time. He's had to fight like, gas station attendants and guys that work at the beef factory and stuff like that. And it was rough. And granted, no disrespect to his competition because he has fought guys that were decent. They were serviceable, but he made them all look pretty regular, man. And some of them were tougher for him. Like he didn't knock out everybody. Like somebody asked me recently. Actually, my boy Dennis asked me recently, who do I think was the toughest fight for him? Or was it? No. He actually asked me on a previous episode, what's my favorite fight that Andre was in. I guess so he can watch it and kind of get the gist of who Andre is. But bro, that's a tough question for me, man. The tough. Man, he made a lot of those guys look the same. Granted, like I said, he didn't knock out everybody, uh, but none of those guys really looked amazing against him. Andrade is pretty awkward, and he can bang, and he's also a really slick counterpuncher. I'm not gonna say he's the most accurate. I mean, he has his days like every fighter. But if I were to try to struggle and come up with an answer for that question, maybe the Akavov fight or the Well, the Selecki fight, Selecki is not as good as Akavov was in that particular instance, but Akavov was really awkward in that fight and very aggressive. Like he stepped forward. Even when he was trying to avoid a punch, he would step into the body of Andrade, kind of just smothering the punches, using his body a lot, different levels. When you look at the Selecki fight, a Selecki fight, uh, that guy shouldn't have been in the ring with Andre. He wasn't as aggressive, which allowed just Boo Boo to, it was just he was just teeing off like target practice. Both fights went 12 though. You know what I mean? Both fights went 12 rounds. You got one where it's literally back and forth, and then another one where you're dominating the whole time, man. I take that back a little bit. I don't want to say it was super back and forth with Akavov, but it was definitely a closer fight. Akavov gave him a bit more problems than somebody like Selesky did. Leon Williams, like he makes a lot of these guys look regular, man. Salute to him. Oh, and also I truly believe that this will be the toughest fight for Andre. This period is going to be the toughest fight for him. I don't think he's ever fought somebody like Benavidez. This is gonna be a major, probably the biggest test of his career, absolutely. And it's hard for me to say the same the other way around, really. We just saw Benavidez fight Caleb Plant, who is very similar when you think about it to Boo Boo from my boxing people out there. He is very similar, both crafty, defensive-minded fighters that can pack a punch, hinge at the hips, which can be awkward for a lot of guys to punch and land on them. But hey, man, and plus they can brawl if need be. This is really a make or break fight for Andrade, man. And really both, but mainly Andrade. I'm hoping this fight gets made. Y'all, I'll just make my predictions as we get closer to the date, all right? That's when I'll include them in the who you got or whatnot when I know. Now, moving on to other fighters that might be avoided. Shakur Stevenson. I actually called him a heel on a previous episode. And for those who don't know what a heel is, it's pretty much the bad guy or the person that uses tactics to get the crowd going or secure a win. Lately, we've been seeing Shakur and his team in 4K just try to figure this whole thing out, man. The boxing landscape right now is pretty tricky. But I will say in the beginning, he came out sort of like a golden child, the perfect young man trying to put Noak on his back. Post Olympics coming home with the silver medal in 2016, only losing to the Cuban, like a lot of Olympic hopefuls did back then, man. For some reason, the Cuban style of boxing just caters to the Olympics, man. But hey, I digress. All right, now back to Shakur wearing off that good guy image. So from 2016 Olympics, he goes pro finally in 2017, signing with Top Rank for his promotional company, and he's managed right now by Jay Prince and Andre Ward, legends. Salute Andre Ward. Shakur had a brawl in Miami. I don't know if y'all remember that. Thankfully, nothing crazy came from that, but I believe he was arrested honestly, that situation was taken care of, and I don't really think it was his fault. Sure, almost any fight can be avoided. Sure, you can always walk away, but I can't put too much on him for that. Young man, there were whole, tempers involved, obviously, alcohol involved, obviously, and lessons. So it is what it is. Then moving on to the obvious to me at least, attempt at just pandering to the Hispanic crowd. Yes, yes. Yes. We noticed. Alright? And for y'all out there that are like, "Oh, yeah, but I get it. He's Puerto Rican. I get it. He is Hispanic. Yes, I get it." But I don't remember him saying that out the gate. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm sure with family and people that know him, they knew, but, like, I don't remember the Puerto Rican flags in the first few fights. I don't remember him talking about that, but we all know how the average boxing fan can be towards quote unquote black fighters. So, hey, if that's your choice to find some kind of way to separate yourself, then I get it. But I fully believe that Shakur was trying to pander to the Hispanic community, boxing community that is. And speaking of pandering, he went on to try to pander to the Lomachenko fans after the Devin Haney fight, saying that Lomachenko actually beat him. Come on now. Come on. Shakur knew good and darn well that Lomachenko did not win that fight, but there was a lot of energy going on. You had a lot of the fans disappointed. Lomachenko literally he probably had all of America on his side, unfortunately, in that situation. And to make that matter even worse, Shakur came out a few days later saying that he rewatched the fight, and in fact, Haney did win. Like, Come on, man. And then recently, on top to make that worse, he went on his Twitter going back and forth with Devin saying, "Oh, that's why Lomachenko beat you." Bro, which one is it, man? Which one is it, bro? Now, I'm not sure if this is him as a man now taking ownership of his career and just making poor decisions or what, but bruh, these are tactical errors, man. Just miscalculations. All right. And by the way, this ain't no hate at all. I am absolutely a big fan of Shakur Stevenson. Everyone knows that. Just like we all know he should have took that 25%. All right. You should have took that 25 from Devin Haney and tried to take all those belts, man. Now, unfortunately, you're gonna have a tougher, or should I say a longer path forward to snatch all those belts like Dragon Balls, man. Shakur is one of those guys that has become extremely talented and unliked. And y'all already know what that means. Avoided. Now, this last part is going to be short, man. Alicia. Miss Baumgartner. Say it ain't so. I really hope this is BS, y'all. Dylan White got popped before. That's that. He has a history of that, unfortunately. I'm hoping he's clean as well. But Alicia, man. Now I believe it's the UCAT that's been doing the testing. And y'all can let me know down below in the comments or whatever if that's incorrect. I'm not 100% sure. But worst case scenario, there would be a suspension coming. We've seen other fighters that have been caught or popped for that serve a suspension. Have to do a little time or whatnot away from the sport. We've seen it with Canelo, Tyson Fury. We've seen it with Dylan White. We've seen it with other fighters, but I'm really hoping this is some kind of error, some kind of cross contamination or something like that, because we have seen that as well. But hey, salute to Ms. Baumgartner, and even salute to Dylan White, man. I'm hoping this ain't true for the both of y'all, man. But got to keep the sport clean, man. Got to keep the sanctity of this sport in line. All right, we've been having a great few years of boxing, and there's so much more to come. All right, appreciate y'all tuning in to the PCP. I'm out. Follow the Pool Counter Podcast on IG and YouTube at the Pool Counter Pod and at Pool Counter Pod on Twitter. Available where you get your podcast. Show your host some love at Wendy Antoine 5 and email the show at the Pool Counter Boxing Pod at gmail.com. Appreciate you tuning in and supporting the movement. And remember, leave 5 stars, share the love. Peace.